tonight. Another accusation now, moving forward, is that the Shias believe in a different Qur'an, and that we don't value or respect the Qur'an that all Muslims read today. How would we answer that misconception?
This is one of the oldest misconceptions, unfortunately, and it's one where if you go to some of the scholars of certain mosques of other schools in Islam which have a hatred towards the Shia, the first thing they'll say is, be careful, they believe in a different Qur'an. You say, what do we mean? What do you mean that we believe in a different Qur'an? And the reply will be that you have a surah in your Qur'an which is called Surah Al-Wilaya, and that has Ali's name in it, and apparently you believe that Ali is mentioned, and so on. And we always say, if you say we have a different Qur'an, then come to our mosques and show us the different Qur'an. To the extent one person once took his friend to one of the mosques where there was a Shia majority. Of course, the mosque is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it was a mosque of a Shia majority, and he took his friends, he said, you know, you said we have a different Qur'an. He said, yeah. He said, go and find, where's that Qur'an printed in, you see in the corner? He went and opened it, it said, printed on behalf of the king of Saudi Arabia and the servant of the two holy mosques. So you find that when we look at this issue, the Qur'ans that we have are the Qur'ans every other Muslim has. Someone says that, you know, you believe that the Qur'an has been changed and so on. First and foremost, our scholars state that whatever is between those two covers is what came down to Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. If we believe there are verses missing, then we can't form a legal system. You see, how am I meant to form a legal system and say to you, this is haram or this is halal? But then you could reply to me and say, but how do I know there wasn't a verse which abrogated that issue? You need the Qur'an to form a legal system for your school. And on the second level, if there are certain books which were written in history which narrate traditions which seem confusing. For example, someone may narrate a tradition of a particular Shiite scholar who came forward and said that there are this many verses in the Qur'an, like 16,000 verses. So someone said, look, you have a different Qur'an. There's only 6,500 verses in the Qur'an. You say 16,000. We reply by saying, yes, if you take the Qur'an and the commentary of the Qur'an, you add them together, it could come to 16,000. So our scholars are unanimous in coming forward and saying that what's between the covers is what we follow and is the basis of our law.
Thank you very much. We have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Salam.
Salam, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, brother.
Salam to the Sayyid and salam to you as well, brother. My question is, basically, there's a misconception about Kulthum alayhi salam marrying Hazrat Umar. Some schools of thought basically say that it's narrated in Bukhari that this marriage took place. That's my first question. And the second question is, if the Sayyid can please explain the peace treaty between Imam Hassan and Muawiyah.
Okay, thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Dealing with the first, as brother mentioned, misconception, which is that Kulthum, or a historical figure called Kulthum, who other schools say possibly was the daughter of Imam Ali, married the second Khalifa of Islam. And if you'd like to clarify around that issue.
Yeah, there seems to be a major dispute concerning this issue. That Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam had a number of daughters. He had Zainab al-Kubra, Zainab al-Sughra, Kulthum al-Kubra, Kulthum al-Sughra. And that some people come forward and state that is it true that Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph, had come forward and married her? We reply by stating that our belief is that that Umar ibn al-Khattab did marry an Kulthum, but not Kulthum, daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, but Kulthum bin Jarwal al-Ansariya. Why? Because of the fact that if you go to books of history, you'll find that Umar's wife Kulthum died in the 50th year after Hijrah. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib's daughter Kulthum died in the 61st year after Hijrah. So it must be a different Kulthum, and that different Kulthum is Kulthum bin Jarwal al-Ansariya. And the books are there of history for you to examine that issue. In terms of the treaty between Imam Hassan alayhi salam and Muawiyah, some people come forward and say, look, Muawiyah, there is no problem with Muawiyah because of the fact that Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam signed a treaty with him. First, we reply back to them by saying, on the first level, Muawiyah fought the caliph of his time. There is a problem with him. Muawiyah killed Ammar bin Yasir. There is a problem with him. Muawiyah, then when you look at the treaty, look at the terms of the treaty that were broken. The treaty that was agreed was what? The treaty that was agreed was that Muawiyah would stop the cursing of Imam Ali on the pulpits. And that number 2, Muawiyah would protect the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Number 3, he'd stop the killing of the Shia of Ali. Number 4, he'd give back the blood money of the martyrs at the Battle of Jamal and the Battle of Siffin. And number 5, and very importantly, that after he dies, the leadership goes back to Imam Hassan or Imam al-Hussein. Each one of these is broken. And brothers, I ask you to go in history, you'll find it very clearly, brothers and sisters, how he broke each one of them. In terms of the cursing of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, it continued in Muawiyah's time, after Muawiyah's time, until Umar bin Abdul Aziz stopped the cursing on the pulpit. Every Friday, they used to curse Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam on the pulpits of the Umayyad mosques, until Umar bin Abdul Aziz stopped this cursing. In terms of changing the sunnah of the Prophet, this was the Muawiyah. If I want to explain changing sunnah, one sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa is when he used to pray, the khutbah of Salat al-Jum'ah, the khutbah he'd do it standing. The only man to have begun the sunnah of sitting is Muawiyah, for example. Number 3, in terms of the killing of the Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam, people like Hujr bin Adi al-Kindi, Amr bin Hamaq al-Khuza'i, people like this were all killed by Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan and his henchmen. In terms of giving back the blood money to the martyrs of Jamal Siffin, that never ever came back. And in terms of the caliphate after him, he gave it to his despotic son, and arguably one of the most tyrannical as well as arrogant rulers in Islamic history, Yazid.
And you mentioned Muawiyah sitting, and that's actually was the consequence of a curse put on him by the Prophet, was it not?
Well, you know, you can go into different reasons in Islamic history as to his lifestyle, and you know, he unfortunately was quite bloated in terms of his eating habits. He would always be eating to a level where he just can't get full. And Imam al-Nasa'i, the author of one of the 6 books, was tortured because he narrated this hadith.
Yeah, exactly. I believe we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. My name is Naeem. I'm a Reva, and obviously I've found out about Shia, Sufi and Sunni, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that Shia practices are innovations, they are bid'ah, but obviously I've not really spoken to them. It's the first time I've seen any Shia person to be able to speak to, so I would like to be able to, if you can clarify to me, why do people say that Shia practices cannot be attributed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other questions, brother?
Basically that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's a shame that revert brothers who come into the religion of Islam are straight away taught, you know, scandalous statements such as this, that we are the ones who don't follow the sunnah of the Prophet and we innovate and we have bid'ah. On the contrary, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa as a piece of advice to you, brother, is the one who said, I leave behind for you the Qur'an and my Ahlul Bayt, the Qur'an and my family. Hold on to them. You'll never go astray. You'll meet me at the pool of Kawthar. You'll find here that when we look at this, what we take as our teachings are from the Qur'an and from the Prophet through his family, through his daughter Fatima al-Zahra, through Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and his sons Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. On the contrary, if you want to see innovations in Islam, you yourself can go and ask those who told you that the Shia are the people of bid'ah. Say to them, if the Shia are the people of bid'ah, then can you please explain to me who are the ones who formulated a good bid'ah and a bad bid'ah? That in Islamic history we have certain personalities who say this is a good bid'ah. Taraweeh was not in the time of Rasulullah in the idea of it being in Jama'ah, but I say it's a good bid'ah that it should be in Jama'ah, for example. You find, for example, Hayya ala khayr al-amal was part of the adhan. It's a good bid'ah to remove it, for example. So when you're asking who are the people of the bid'ah are those who had a caliph who himself began to talk about this good bid'ah, bad bid'ah, good bid'ah, bad bid'ah. The point is, who are you as a caliph to tell me what's a good innovation, what's a bad innovation? I follow the sunnah of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. What Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi did, I do as obligatory actions. As obligatory actions I take from the Prophet. Someone who comes later on and says to me, he did this, but I believe I should do something else, that's a bid'ah. And unfortunately there are many acts which the Prophet was allowing in his time, which people after he passed away started changing. Absolutely. And that is definitely not the actions of the Shia.
Which will lead me on to my next question. Thank you very much, by the way, for that call, brother. It's very interesting. As you mentioned, after the passing of the Prophet, certain so should we say fatwas were passed, certain rules were made which violated the practices of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and one of them was the
واستوصوا بآل بيتي خيرا ليحيينا بذلك حياة تتصل بحضرته. لما قال أهل بيتي نسبها إلى حضرته؟ ليعلمنا أن انتقاله من الدنيا لا يعني انقطاع صلتنا بحضرته. استوصوا بآل بيتي أي أن معاني صلتكم بي تبقى ما بقي آل بيتي بين ظهرانيكم.
You can't handle the truth! The truth.
استوصوا بآل بيتي أي أن معاني صلتكم بي تبقى ما بقي آل بيتي بين ظهرانيكم.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns.